forget the past. You have won 2 titles, and you're now on a 1-6 DRX. Your team is looking like it's in shambles. Communication isn't great. Bottom side, the worst of it, and you're half of that. #1 deaths and supports across the board, twice as many as Keria has had this season.
Yeah.
Twice. Over twice, I should say. And anyway, it's hard to look forward right now, but they have to, somehow, some way. Playoffs is not off the cards just yet, but a few more losses as we crest the end of this round robin, and you're going to be the first team eliminated.
Yeah, that Ash ban coming through there. They read the iPad this time around. Love to see it from DRX. As yeah, we are in pick and ban, by the way. Cassid and Maokai and the Elise already banned away as well. T1 thinking about that last ban as that is Azeri. Very interesting, as we're angling towards the Lucian first pick, as DRX say, nope, you're not having that, but that means Caitlyn's up, so I guess you just, you pick that or do a T1 thing, which would be Sejuani.
Yeah, you could Sejuani and say, is Dr. really willing to play the Draven lane? Because Keria have had the widest support AD carry duo champion pool by a large margin. Keria can play anything, and so you can just lock up jungle prio here. But Caitlyn is too good of an opportunity to pass up. They will take it here.
I love it. I think this is absolutely fantastic. They can also give it to Keria. Playing their Varus Caitlyn lane was very dangerous. As Dr. pretty happy to go towards this Varus, who we've seen just evacuate. He was just, I don't know, he was just not allowed for a really long time. He's back again now here today for like there's no apparent reason why he wasn't prioritized as highly as he was in week 3. He just wasn't. So now he's back. We'll see whether he does okay.
Yeah, and he's got the Karma with him, so that'll help stave a lot of the pressure off in the lane, but you know Caitlyn Lux is still going to win this. It's just a matter of how hard.
Yeah, and whether that mid-game trough is actually going to be acted upon, right?
Yeah,
because the Caitlyn snowball needs to keep rolling. DRX have a few tools at that point in the game already to try and counteract it.
Yeah. Playing on the back foot a little bit here is DRX, but you can put a draft together here, especially with this Vi pick for Kroko, one of his best, where you can kind of play reactively towards that aggressive bottom side and try to punish it. And Sejuani versus Vi with the Varus Karma here, especially if you could trade well, you know, you might actually be able to punish this lane and get kills if they are getting all that plate gold or trying to push their advantages to the fullest. Jace ban on Zeus, love to see it.
Yeah.
Pretty blindable here for T1 in the second phase.
I really like, I wouldn't have minded Rascal actually going for a bit of a Jace blind pick angle, because Jace Varus do form a decent core for like a poke composition, but with Vi kind of feels a little bit off theme, so they're going to ban it away anyway. Might mean that it's going to be the Rascal counter pick, Fate going to lock in probably an Azir, I guess, as there's the Jax ban. See where Zeus' eyes are going to be going, just trying to protect his matchup, as that is the likely counter pick like we were just talking about.
The Akali and the Sylas are still up. So if they want to put Rascal on that R5 counter pick, the Azir, as strong as it is for this existing draft, can be quite risky. They'll try to protect it a little bit here with the Sylas ban.
Yeah.
And, you know, Faker has not been an Akali prioritizer in recent times, and they'll just say, well, don't want to play the Akali, actually, just going to ban the Azir instead. Akali doesn't work extremely well with T1's comp anyways, so...
Yeah, you want to have that mid priority to really make sure that the Caitlyn lane can do exactly what it wants to do.
Exactly.
So K'Sante going to be the consideration here, as very blind pickable. So Rascal can just go for that one, and then Fate can choose what he wants to do into that mid lane. Don't mind it.
Yeah, we'll probably see a Gnar to come through here from Guma. We'll lock it in for Zeus, and the question is, what is Faker going to play here? Because Victor isn't going to necessarily give you that guaranteed prio, but it is very strong with this comp and where it's headed, especially if you are planning on playing that Gnar, so...
Can push pretty quickly, so I think like you can, if played well,
yeah,
can actually get it.
It's not that risky of a blind mid pick, especially with what's been taken away. Also, Faker has, I think, easily been the best performing Victor player in the LCK. But
outside
instead,
of Bulldog, maybe.
Yeah, well, Bulldog has had some great laning stats, at least. I'd say this Fiora pick is not expected. Does open up a little bit of extra split pushing to get through that power trough for the Caitlyn, get that Victor to the later parts, rather than just trying to say, all right, we're going to have a better team fighting comp with the Gnar. Takes away the conditional aspect of the Gnar bar, where you can get poked out by the Varus. This is a kind of greedy pick here for Fate.
Oh, this one's also dangerous, because this means that DRX are foregoing that priority like you were talking about in that mid-game, but does give you that power. Sorry, in the mid lane. The power is in the mid game, right?
Yes.
That's when the Akali can really start running around and causing a ruckus. You get that first item, and then you're feeling a lot better. And that does kind of match up with when Varus is going to hit his spikes as well. So I kind of like it as sort of an identity here for DRX, but I don't think it's going to work.
I don't think it's going to work, but the one thing that I like about it, besides the mid-game synergy you talked about with the Varus, is that it says, Fate, here's the keys. You're driving this car now. And if there's one player I could trust on this DRX roster who is not going to make an early error and might actually, in a crazy skirmish, they could force pick up 2 kills randomly and then start off that snowball and get this Akali to a place where Fate can actually carry this game, it's a champ you want to put in his hands. And the draft is now kind of wholly in his control. Now, the early prio, he's going to have to stave that off. It's going to make the Caitlyn a lot stronger, and the whole game may collapse as a result. But at least you're saying, hey, Fate, Rascal, you guys got these red side solo picks. Cassante pretty safe here.
Yep.
And I'm going to trust in that rather than putting the keys into a bottom lane or really a jungle pick that you're going to try to define yourself with. You're going to have to play this one slow, and then you're going to have to spike exactly at that timing where Caitlyn is at her weakest and start taking those Drakes away. If T1 stack 3 Drakes, this one's not looking good.
Especially that second Drake. We're looking at that sort of timing, right, where things are going to get really rough. So around that 11 to 12 minute mark, I think that's when DRX need to be sort of aiming to be able to fight. And you will at least have Fate getting towards that item. The Varus starting to get strong. Rascal on Cassante as well. Very safe pick there towards that top side. We'll see whether he's going to be able to shake out some of the sillies that he had earlier in the week. See how it goes. We hop onto the rift for Game 1. All right, DRX fans, a little bit less coordination when it comes to the fan chant there. Sounded like a little bit of a mess. Maybe hinting at some synergy with the team at the moment.
Yeah, you gotta make sure you've got your fan club leader at the ready for that one to make sure that's coordinated.
Yeah.
I like the usage of Mantra here in mid from Beryl, just trying to find anything he can. Trying to win it on the bottom side is a lot tougher.
They are going to move in as Beryl just standing. He was checking to make sure he knew what. Yeah, that's a cloud. Yep, still a cloud. He was just checking. My immersion.
The inscriptions.
Yeah. He's actually playing first-person League of Legends, so he might have a little bit less spatial awareness, but all of that micro control, absolutely there. It's VR. I think it's VR League of Legends. So he needs to make sure that he walks into the pit to know that it's going to be a Cloud Drake first.
Another thing to mention for what the growth of DRX looked like, by the way, for last year, is the coaching staff, right? Where Song was able to transform a very weak spring DRX. You know, they had the good start, right? We talked about the, Callista and the Zero and or Corki meta where they were finding success, but like the summer, they have like a 6th place team that's a problem. But Song really was able to turn this team into a powerhouse when it mattered most and then help them win Worlds. He's not on this roster anymore.
No.
He's over on FlyQuest with Prince and Vikla, so
yep.
It's going to take time also with a new coaching staff that hasn't worked with Beryl as closely, right, to get this one all in line.
Yeah, and FlyQuest, I hear, doing pretty well.
Yeah.
So nicely done there. As Beryl just throws the Mantra Q into the wave, trying to get a little bit of control back. Don't know whether they really want it to be pushing any further away from their turret because that's looking dangerous. And in fact, Octom's going to miss 2 of that CS. And yeah, this is just going to continue. I do want to note some summoner spells here as well as Oner is going to come around. Octom has taken the heal. Cleanse exists, guys, for a reason. Hard CC is why you generally pick it. Things like Light Binding, Glacial Prison, even standing in a gravity field. You can use Cleanse in order to avoid those.
It's really desperate, too, because in a lane like this, it almost indicates that there's a belief that this could be won. And a reality check for everybody who may have that feeling of, like, maybe perhaps we could actually use heal and take an aggressive trade into this.
Yeah.
The heal you want is the pots. The consumable heal, that's the heals you want.
Croco's going to come around with to fight this one out, as there's the flash forward from Keria, straight up hitting air, as Croco is unable to take away the blue buff. So it is going
heal
to
value.
It's actually, you know, trade flash for heal. You'll take that trade as DRX, am I right? Nailing it. Could have theoretically used cleanse to avoid that issue as well, but I'm not going to drive the point too far into the ground. I'm sure that the spaces are going to do that for us.
Yeah. We might drive it to the ground a little bit further if we see some Glacial Prisons connect onto Duckdom, who then subsequently is picked by all the long-range damage they have.
Yep. We were actually we were having a little bit of a chat to Huni before as well, and yeah, he was feeling a little bit better about you know, the last couple of games yesterday, but I imagine this has probably not made him quite as happy. So Huni, if you're there, just we're with you, buddy, and hopefully everything will be okay in the next game.
That was a really nice angle from Zeus here, but he might be punished now.
Yeah, Rascal at 300 health is Alfred Gaming. It's our favorite kind of gaming. I don't know whether it's going to be Zeus' favorite kind of gaming, as Rascal pushes him into the wall. Riposte going to avoid a lot, though, as he is just going to walk it out. He didn't even ghost, guys. He didn't even press the ghost button, as Beryl's going to get taken down to nothing. That headshot hit for over 200 at this stage of the game. Very nicely done there from the bottom lane of T1. And in the meantime, Zeus just eats all of that pressure.
And no flash from Beryl. You just, we'll watch it again, but just eats a death early here. Playing up in the lane, not respecting the power of this comp. Just sitting on the longsword, right? And you have your Mantrid Q for damage, but Varus does not do a lot of auto attack damage. It's more about what he does with his abilities early, and
yeah, especially with the build that he's gone as well. We're going the lethality route.
Yeah, the Comet. Beryl looking for a root.
Well, is going to be able to find it there as the Mantrid Q comes through as well. Did have Ignite, but never really got in range, and also probably wasn't going to be able to kill. As Rascal fighting Zeus underneath his turret. Rascal actually feeling himself here at this point in time. Not winning in CS or anything like that, as the wave was in a great spot for Zeus, but let's have a look at this again.
Keria in the brush at the furthest right spot. Beryl thought he was safe behind the minion wave, but there was an angle there for Keria. Definitely less on Beryl in this case. Flash wouldn't have saved him unless he reacted perfectly there, and even so you lose your flash, but could have done it if he was quicker on the trigger finger, but it was just a nice angle from Keria. And
I think he could have flashed, but I don't think he ever survives, so I think it's a good idea not to use it.
You flash the binding maybe, or
yeah, you need to flash that bit.
Yeah, you can't flash after that, so reaction time just not good enough there, and again, kind of fooled by the minion wave, thinking that the binding wouldn't be able to hit him at that angle, but
bit of a rotate down here for Fate, who has hit level 6.
This is what Fate's doing, man. He's trying to fish for an advantage early that you don't normally get, but someone makes a mistake. Fate's like, I will buy that Dark Seal, I will get my Death Note.
Yep, start taking off some names. See whether he can. Currently has a 5 CS advantage over the Victor, which you'd be feeling pretty good as. Pretty good about as the Akali. As, yeah, continuing to be a bit frustrating. Sort of got through the difficult part of the lane, as you can see. And now with the Merc Tread's going to be feeling pretty happy about how this one is going. Chaos Storm is going to try and sort of stem the bleeding here in this mid lane. Yep. I do love that from Victor's. Just I want lane control, and you just throw an ult at it.
It's funny how Silas is also kind of the same way in this matchup. He's like, thank you for level 6, I will take this and get a little bit of breathing room to back, right?
Yep, yep.
The early Silas is like, please. Faker is going to just buy some mana here with this back, and then straight back in.
Yeah, Keria off to the side.
Did take
vision.
Ghost, by the way, Faker did, so something to keep in mind going into the later parts of this game. Not going to be able to flank as easily or side lane as aggressively around objectives.
Yep, I kind of love it though. Because you can use Ghost in the early game very similarly to Teleport, depending on whether or not you can get the good back timings. With the extra movement speed, you get back to lane pretty fast. As Duckdom taking a lot of damage. Oner moving over. I don't know whether there was any vision available of the Sejuani.
Could just see.
He wants to stay in experience range, I think, wanting to get himself that level 6 mark. We'll see whether he's actually got it. He did.
And now he can rotate back over. Faker's here too.
Yeah,
they want
ult
this.
Comes in. Beryl, Inspire on cooldown for the next few seconds. Let's see whether Oner can land that ulti. And Chains of Corruption, they're going to be flash. Light Binding comes in, and in the backline, it's going to be a dead Varus, but not before the Caitlyn goes down. Really beautifully played there as all right. Cease and desist in the top lane. See whether Zeus has to ghost this time, and he does. There's the grand challenge, though, and DRX gonna have to back away. Oh man, this guy's pretty good. As Oner is dead, and Fate's gonna pick up a kill. He is exactly the guy DRX wants getting these kills. They're on the board.
Keria does not have enough mana for his ultimate, or he would have tried to snipe there. Fortunately, he's just gonna have to back away. Still, good binding there. Fate's forced to back, but picks up a huge amount of money, right? And there's that Dark Seal. I mean, it doesn't get more Fate than this, right? This is what he is doing. He is like, I will carry this team. I will look for an angle. As this was really well played from the DRX bottom lane, trying to clear this wave out. And the chains here flashed only by Keria. Guma gets caught. Really nicely played, and Oner is going to be able to trade one back, but it's a Sejuani picking up the kill and not the Caitlyn. And now Fate comes over here with a flash from Beryl for the root. It's 2 stacks of Dark Seal for the Akali. Good binding here from Keria, but doesn't have the follow-up ult mana.
Yep, and I really like that Fate actually goes in and takes an extra couple of turret shots in order to get that kill for himself, because it's really important that he's the one that has money. As Beryl's going to take Faker for a walk. Okay, Chaos Storm gonna almost kill him. Faker's still chasing after the Karma, as Final Spark was there to make sure that kill happens, but that's still a dead Keria, and I think getting kills onto this Akali is pretty important for DRX, so that 1-for-1, DRX will definitely take. Is now Croco looking for Oner, doesn't find it.
These are the kind of things, like I mentioned before this series, you can give the driver's keys, or rather the driver's seat to Fate, you give him the keys to the car, and these random skirmishes, he is going to get kills, and you're still feeling very good about this ST1, but Fate is getting the kind of game that he wants, right? And
yeah, and this is what we already alluded to, right? We've got like a 10.5-minute first Drake as well. I think DRX very happy about that situation, because with this Caitlyn composition, you want to be able to utilize that early pressure that you have, get to a mid game where you can continue that snowball rolling. Well, it's hit a few bumps, shall we say. And Light Binding avoided with the Vault Breaker, as Fate still needs to be a bit careful. Faker doing a fair bit of work there as Zeus fighting Rascal. The lunge available, doesn't get that weak point though. Really good spacing from Rascal here as he misses the Q. Maybe a Caster Curse, maybe not. Misses that Q as well. Yeah, I mean, I'll take it.
Zeus is playing this really well. With the lunge, you have a lot of ability to dodge these.
Really cute.
It's really hard to play this matchup out without the slow. If you get one of those slows, then you can actually get the knockup, but Zeus is just showing so much respect, hitting those vitals. And Drake here still under control by T1, but they haven't actually been able to secure it just yet. But they can push this Varus and Karma away. They have the choke point completely locked up. Scuttle, control ward.
Yeah, and there's still a 30 CS gap for Gumayusi. So, you know, there were some hurdles, some potholes in the road, but the snowball's still doing fine at this point in time. As Fate getting taken down low, means we might see T1 actually manage to make it over and kill this dragon. Bristle just not really feeling like it at the moment. He can lead a horse to water, you know.
Nope. Not going to drink it, at least not yet. As Faker's using this Ghost and Fleet Footwork extremely well to push Fate out of lane, and it's really helping him here with Akali picking up 2 kills this early.
Ooh, okay. DRX actually wanting this one. Gumayusi going to stand behind the rest of his team. Keria wanting to find that light binding angle. There it is, Final Spark comes in, but they're not able to mitigate this damage as Rascal is down solo. The grand challenge is there though. And Zeus is going to pick up a solo kill against the solo killer, much like Bertle did earlier in the week.
So DRX get a solo Cloud Drake here, but it's going to be a ton of money going over the Fiora. Not only the kill, but the plate gold here too, as this wave is going to crash through. Rascal has no teleport. There's no way to stop him from just stacking up the money here. And he can play as greedy as he likes because there's just no answer. As here in mid, this is the barrel sidestep here, but Keria plays this so perfectly. Barrel gets slowed. And then when Keria uses the final spark, it's kind of checkmate for Beryl because he can't dodge both that and escape from Faker here. So steps to the left to avoid it, so Faker gets the kill. Keria dies for this, so it's a trade. As up here, mean, Zeus just using his lunges to avoid everything, and this was ambitious from Rascal trying to pull him under turret, but
yeah, I think
bit of a
Zeus
mistake.
Also still had riposte available as well, so that was even less close than we thought it was. But Plate going to Fate, Wolf. This is what you were talking about. Beryl takes half his health bar. Keria presses a few buttons, and that is, yeah, fair bit of pressure. But we've got gun versus bow and arrow, but it is a pretty high-tech bow and arrow with this particular skin.
Sure.
So it does feel a little bit, you know, more Hawkeye-esque.
Yeah.
Less like medieval versus modern day.
Faker going crown this game, which we don't always like, but I think a lot of people are probably going to scoff because of the Varus and the Akali to maybe proc it as uh-oh.
All right, Gumayusi might be in trouble here as he's going to flash. There's the net as well. Beryl just trying to keep up with him. There's the heal. Arrow connects and Doctarm completes the kill. Now, another battle towards this top side as Oner goes in, but now the Akali finds the perfect execution. Really good riposte though, and she's dead! Zeus is taking matters into his own hands, blocks the Vault Breaker. My god, is there anything this guy cannot do? As Rascal, he's going to have to run away, and I think Wolf, like, right, just put the tick in the top lane, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, look,
oh my god.
The game is not over yet, but this is a huge backbreaking moment here for DRX because that's all the Dark Seal stacks gone for Fate there. On the knife's edge, that fight could have been if it was Lunge wasn't so perfect there, and now he's just pushing this advantage even further now into the top side of the map. Oh. And as long as he stays out of range of Rascal looking for this ult, he should be fine. As going back to this exchange, I mean, Zeus here on the top side of the map. Victor's coming over, right? Faker can ghost his way through, has that crown. Lots of damage mitigation. By the time Fate decides to go in here, it's too late. And I mean, the ultimate here from Faker comes out the last possible second, dude. T1 played this fight not to win, but to kill all possible targets. Like, the way they played that was to maximize how much gold. Like, they walked in that fight like, okay, we win this no matter what. As, yeah, Guma did. Unfortunately for him, step out a little bit without vision here. Good control ward there on the river. Was punished for this, but the lead for T1 everywhere else is so massive that things like this you feel good about, but not great.
Well, Croco is going to come on over and look for Zeus. He cannot press his R button on him. A, because it's not off cooldown yet, and B, because riposte exists. So Zeus is going to sidestep it. Rascal looking for a back timing. Going to have that one denied as well. And look, you know, I like... We have been saying that games have been over relatively early, and it's a very snowballing meta, and it's often true. When it's a Fiora like that's playing this well and is now 2-0-1, like that's a win condition.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't matter what the rest of your competition is. That like her by herself, that is now win condition. I mean, secured. As Oner is going to deny the Rift Herald that DRX died for.
This is not a comp too with the Vi where you can punish her from pushing very easily. You need more resources. And Akali just isn't necessarily going to be it. Fate's trying to outplay this with the Shroud.
Yeah, Faker is just pressing his buttons. We'll get out of there just fine, but Fate sort of sending a message. Crown complete here for Faker as well.
Yeah, we
can battle a little bit.
We were talking about that a little bit earlier. Like the crown here for Faker is not something that we always like, but into this Akali and the Varus, you know, yeah, Varus can proc it easily, but you don't want to be hit by arrows and lose a lot of your health bar, and they'll lose that ability to battle and give an Akali a chance to come in and sweep you up. So I actually do like it in this case, especially with the lead they have. Like, he might have not have necessarily built it if they didn't have such a strong bottom side and such a lead with this Fiora. Now, Fiora went bottom here to try to lane swap and grab another turret. There's no one picking up the slack here. Faker kind of stayed mid with his Drake spawning, so Rascal is going to kind of seemingly out of nowhere take an entire turret and TP in. So T1 kind of trying to maximize this Fiora's gold, but Faker not willing to actually go without teleport to the top side of the map. So Rascal turning it back a little bit in terms of the money.
Yep, you like to see it. It's not really going to answer too much. Still 1.5k the advantage for T1, and they do get control of this river. They'll walk back in, though, to catch this wave, and DRX will be the benefactors of that particular macro play. Definitely good to see.
But, you know, the Fiora is still going to get this bottom turret eventually. You're on a clock here as DRX. You have to try to wrestle for this prio or give up your bottom turret, and if they are this slow, they will lose both, right?
Yep, never mind. Zeus diff is a big problem in this game, as we identified.
Yeah, I mean, he's already taken 2 turrets out, and still DRX, no angle here on this Drake, you know, and Caitlyn has Gale Force. This is the part of the game where you're hoping to fight with your Varus. He does have the Ghost Blade online. It's a early game Cassante fight where maybe Fate gets into the back line, but you're hoping and praying with no vision here. Oh, man.
Well, there's a Glacial Prison. Croco is going to be able to get out of there as, oh my goodness, Keria almost explodes. Definitely high value. Now the flash on cooldown. Does have light binding though. Can still support from a distance. Here it is. Okay, once again, crown going to be broken here by Faker as Rascal looking for Zeus. Don't know whether he wants to do that. Zeus is scary.
It's not a true 1v1 here, but T1 will be rotating over. I actually like this from Rascal, but ultimately at the end of the day, pushing a Fiora away from you slightly isn't going to win you this fight. You need more.
Yeah, has that flank angle as well as now. Fate tries to get in with the backflip. Does not. Oner, can he actually get in is the question. As Final Spark comes down, it is going to be secured there by Croco, but can they win the fight is the question. Oner now going to be put on top of this gravity field that he's using himself as Chaos Storm going to have to be avoided. Ace in the hole comes in. Docdom blocks it really nicely, but Zeus, he's above half health. Look at the AoE damage as well as he picks up the kill on the Cassante. Now Fate is going to be taken down as well. It's a double. 4-0-1 for the Fiora, mops up the fight, and you'd say, like, oftentimes, like, oh, top laner, stop stealing all these kills from the carry. He's the carry.
Oh, he is.
So it's great. It's beautiful. It's where you want him.
I mean, Caitlyn's picked up so much gold, too, anyways, this game. 3 assists, that kill from earlier. Already has a BF sword online, and he's going to be doing a ton of damage in this next fight regardless. But this is Zeus just saying, I will come into your backline here, so you guys have to be decisive. And Rascal decides, okay, I've got this knock-up set up, Croco's here, we got a single target. Unfortunately, that target is a Sejuani, and Faker's ult alone pushes them back, and then Zeus is just like, this is my playground. Chaos Storm on top of a Fiora. And the target selection at the beginning of this fight was problematic for DRX alone, but then trying to turn it around, not able to focus down the Fiora, just too tanky at this point, so far ahead. It's a disaster. And yeah, you got the Drake. 2 Drakes stacked here. That's one of your win conditions. But what it cost you is the problem.
And now T1 can potentially stack up 4 Mountain Drakes with a Sejuani, which would be pretty impossible to deal with if it wasn't already. Zeus also, when he gets his Hullbreaker complete, and then has a Mountain, like he actually 1v5s, I feel, in that point. Maybe not 1v5, maybe 1v4, maybe he'd be up to 1v4.
Here's the thing, like, he will 1v3 probably at some point in this game in a side where DRX need 3 people to kill him, and they might fail, but they need to spend that many resources to kill this Fiora to stop her from taking out inners and inhibitor turrets. As Docdom, no cleanse.
That was a bit cute from Oner, but not actually going to pay off there as Chains of Corruption are going to be flashed.
Who needs a cleanse if you could dodge everything, I guess?
Exactly. There you go. I figured it out. I have the answer. All right.
Look at that damage.
Yeah,
2 levels up.
He's got 2 items, but there are Rascal does too, but Zeus's ones are better in the 1v1. Divine Sunder as well as all of that extra AoE from his Ravenous Hydra. Now just able to ignore Rascal for the majority of this.
And Zeus can also decide when he's, you know, he knows the Jack Show timing and when he needs to walk away from these exchanges, so he can go in, hit a weak point, then back away, reset the Jack Shows, do it again, and just be very annoying. So the Jack Shows is great for team fights, but isn't really going to offer much for Rascal here in terms of his survivability and how he's going to play this 1v1 out.
And back timing to come through from Zeus. As soon as I saw that they were on equal footing when it comes to completed items, I had a feeling that maybe there was a bit of purchasing in order, but it is just a Caulfields as well as his Merc Treads, so...
It's not a Hullbreaker yet.
Yeah, not going to be completing anything just yet. A few different options. Doesn't necessarily need to go Hullbreaker if he doesn't want to go full split push this game. He might want to head towards more of the team fighting build, but I'd like to see it personally.
Just the amount of threat that he has that could pull 3 people across the map means that Faker has more agency this game, even without his teleport. It means that Gumayusi can just free farm more in mid and get to that 3rd item. He already has his BT online, built it very quickly. You mentioned the BF sword earlier on in the game. You can see that Docdom is trying to get that 2nd as Faker.
Oh dear, this crown likely to get more than broken this time around, as yeah, Chaos Storm's not going to work it out, and Fate's going to pick that kill up with the Shuriken backflip. So Faker just a little bit out of position. As did Keria just steal the Rift Scuttler? Yeah, he did. Okay. No,
clean.
They get the kill on Faker. That's all they're allowed to have, though. So
they don't need a victor this game, though. They're just going to push mid.
Yeah. But can Rascal actually find an angle? As Zeus is here with his team. That is really scary. Another Glacial Prison thrown out in celebration here by Oner.
Bit puzzling why Faker was there like that. Siloing into the Akali can be a little bit frustrating, and there's no turret top side there, so he's probably shot calling like, hey, let's try to set up for a Baron here. We have almost enough damage to rush this down. Let's force a bad fight out of DRX, but unfortunately, because of his aggressive positioning towards the Baron there, is caught and picked without enough control vision to be safe. And some money going over, right? 3 kills on this Akali. Merlin Amhan online, starting to get a little bit more beefy, starting to get a little bit more scary. He's actually just backing here, in fact, in this caught. Didn't realize he was channeling that recall there. That makes a lot more sense. Greedy place to do it, but thought maybe he'd get out with enough time because the rest of his team is in such close proximity.
Yeah, just a little bit of an error. It's okay. 3,000 gold the lead, approximately for T1 as they set up for this Mountain Drake. This one they can't give away. This is where not only is it Soul Point, but it's also a Mountain Drake on Cassante, and he is going to be a huge problem. As Croco doesn't exactly have his tanky stats built up just yet, as Faker's crown broken yet again.
The longer this sort of neutral game goes, the more power Zeus has. And he's already got those minions pushed into inner.
All right, Chains of Corruption avoided with a move slightly to the left by Oner. You love to see it.
As soon as they back off like this, Chains miss, Zeus runs to the bottom side. He's like, I'm going to catch this minion wave. We have this Drake in our hands. And yes, DRX with the 2 Drake lead can afford to give one up, but you want to fight, you know, because it doesn't get easier from here. No. You just don't have any opportunities, and if you try to walk back towards this, Zeus kills an inner, starts threatening your inhibitor. And Rascal can't be in 2 places at once, even with his teleport. And Fate's trying to do something here topside. They can't start Baron just yet, but they're trying to give him some money.
Yeah, it's still, you know, definitely good to be able to get, you know, this side lane farm into your Akali as much as possible, but giving away that Drake, yeah, like you say, just feels bad. Now Zeus looking for that back timing. He will go home. So 25 minutes and no Baron attempted. Is this the real T1?
Yeah, I was going to make this joke earlier. When they were kind of around it, around 22:30 and Faker was picked, I was like,
hang on.
It's a little bit late for a T1 Baron, don't you think? But their composition, obviously there's a little bit of a power trough with the Caitlyn, right? And it's a low damage build here for Victor. A lot more safety, right? With the Lich Bane's going to give him more mobility. A little bit more chasing power, too, in fights. Can lock down this Akali easier. Yep, like the build, but it's not the best build for going for Baron. It's not the best team comp for a 20-minute spawn Baron, even with T1's massive lead in this game. So is it the real T1? Yes. Does it feel like it? No, when they're not doing that. But it's understandable.
It is. If they had Leandris on Faker, then yes, I think we could guarantee that they would go for it.
Yeah, especially because just sitting on Baron means that the Fiora is more annoying. The limit, though, has been for this Fiora that inner turret. Rascal was able to hold that one down. And DRX have just kind of given up the rest of the map, but handling the pressure fairly well here.
And when that wave crashes into the inner turret, though, it does give Zeus a lot of control over this Baron area for T1, because now Rascal doesn't have the ability to teleport in at all. Like, Zeus is here ready to try and interrupt. And, well, or at least kill Rascal, make it so it's very difficult for him to do that.
He's got a BF sword. It's kind of hilarious how much damage Zeus does. And this is exactly what you're talking about. Rascal has to catch this wave. He can't be here.
All right, Glacial Prison is going to connect there as Beryl able to shield himself up. Okay, teleport is coming through as Zeus is teleported in already. The binding already laid down, but Faker is dead yet again. Zeus yet to get into this fight as a lot of damage from DRX, but they're unable to finish off Oner as well. Okay, decent Q from Rascal as the 1-for-0 in favor of DRX comes in. You feel fantastic about that as Zeus going to get jumped on. Oner over to the side. He gets across the wall, and it's so sad that DRX, they managed to get the pick onto Faker, but there isn't really much ability to actually wrestle anything back.
Yeah, and it takes so long to kill him, too, because he has this crown that T1 do a lot of damage in the interim, and that teleport from the Cassante is just instantly shut down by a light binding, so there's no way to actually force anything after this. This is a big overextension here on a Karma that has a lot of shielding, right? And then they're like on 2 schools of thought. Like Oner and Faker, like, we push this. Keria and Guma are like, we have a Cassante TPing under our back line. And Oner does flash away. His Aftershock once again getting a ton of value for him. Rascal is caught by that light binding and buffers it one more time, but the fact that he was caught initially on that teleport means he can't get the kill or help get the kill onto Oner. But the fact that Faker bought so much time and so much damage was done by Guma means that they can't actually chase any further. So it's like, once again, small victories here, these small pickoffs. But if it doesn't happen right before an objective, it doesn't lead to DRX getting something greater. Feels insignificant at the grand scale of things.
Certainly does. Zeus clearing out vision in this bottom side river. T1 setting up once again around this Baron. They'll be able to shake off that one pick. And as you can see, it didn't change the gold in any way, shape, or form. Spear of Sojin done for Zeus. We were wondering whether it was going to be the Hull Breaker or whether he was going for something that could just offer a little bit more. And this one, more damage. Yeah, more damage, straight up. When we saw the BF sword, it became pretty clear, but it was one of those moments where you're like, let's wait and see. And Zeus has so much agency in this game in terms of what he could have done build-wise. The Hullbreaker makes him more of a big threat, but this is going to give him a little bit more power in team fights too. Yeah, I like it.
And when Faker is kind of a pseudo-tank with that crown, and the Caitlyn can shoot over the back of his head while he is absorbing all that damage and doing a ton of it too with his Chaos Storm, the Fiora has a lot of soft, weak back targets to look for.
Well, now we've got Zeus having to work on his repose timing. Let's see whether he can actually do it as Vault Breaker comes in. Doesn't use it on that one. There it is. Okay, can Zeus actually find this? Is Rascal's going to turn up as well? Grand Challenge going to get issued. He gets a bunch of health back, and look at how fast he's running with this Ghost. The flash comes down from Croco. Now Zeus looks for it, but Rascal's going to pull him away. In the meantime, the turrets are falling down, guys. And Zeus will get taken down. There's 1,000 gold for Rascal. Their base kind of looking in tatters now as Faker's going to take the inner as well.
I told you, Atlas, there's going to be a time where you 1v3s and T1 get the rest of the map. It's just, these things we just know are going to happen, right? This draft from T1 is just so textbook.
Yeah.
You know that he's going to push the limits. He has a Spear of Shojin, and then he almost trades back the kill onto Croco, but his sacrifice is not in vain. T1 have so much map control. They grab a Drake from this. DRX, because of this ward, can't sneak a Baron. They may try to rush this one down. TP, no TP for Faker, rather.
Yeah, Faker is actually clearing out this wave right now. Teleport in from Rascal as T1 gets the info. So, can you stop this Baron is the question. I think the answer might be no, as Fake gets over the wall. You love to see it. Okay, Faker going to be engaged on. The turn is good as he goes golden. Teleport in. Now Zeus has just respawned. Can he actually do anything? He's surrounded by everyone. Perfect execution now on cooldown. Permafrost does find the Akali as Beryl going to be knocked up. Gumayusi relatively untouched. Gale Force is going to be used. Moves forward, grabs the Karma, and now T1 are starting off this Baron. 4 versus 4 at this point in the game.
Yeah, and now, I mean, with these Caitlyn traps here, the approach is awkward, hoping for a miracle steal here.
They need to turn as well, though. I mean, this is W-empowered arrow from Varus and a Vi over the wall with Smite.
Oner, no flash. This is kind of awkward, as you say.
Definitely is. Zeus moving up. Not a lot of vision available as Croco sees the number now as Grand Challenge comes through. I love it. Oh, he was trying to pick up the Baron before it reset. As Zeus is fighting Fate over the other side. It's actually just beautifully done by T1, though, as now they can get them out of the way. And Dr. and Croco not going to be able to get in there. Final spark comes through. Keria almost dies, but he's absolutely fine. And no smite required in the end.
Very scary moment there, you know, for T1 when it looked like it might be a 50-50, but as you said, they handled it so well. This is quite bizarre. Faker feels a desperation, just kind of walks in here and sets up a gravity field.
I mean, that stops the DRX Baron.
It's good enough, right? And he has, because he has the crown and the Zhonya's, he kind of essentially pulled him off of this. And from this point on, it's reset. And now T1 have Zeus 1v3 on the right side, and all that Caitlyn glass cannon damage is being put to good work here onto Beryl. And then we fast forward to this part of the fight, where Croco so desperately wants to steal. He has a control ward on this, but there's such a rough timer here for him to actually try to take this away. And they pull the trigger on the bottom side of the fight. He goes over the wall, but T1 turned perfectly, are not focusing Baron, so he's in there at 4,000, and now he can't get back in when it matters most. Zeus zones them out. Such a long and clean, patient fight for T1.
It is really beautifully done, and this does show an evolution of T1. Oftentimes, they like flipping. This was not a flip. This was just them holding on to an area and doing so really beautifully. Croco on a flank angle. Wants to be able to find Gumayusi. I mean, look at how huge his health bar is. My God. Double Mount Drake's now built up here as well for T1. Just got a lot of defensive statistics. Oner going to be able to get over that wall. They break open the base on the top side. Now just need to get their minion waves in order. This final spark does come through as well. Coordinated backs for everyone. Ooh, man, that was almost perfectly timed.
And like Kellen, Keria builds the Mikhail's second here. Shirelia's, Mikhail's, making it so much more difficult to pick any of these targets here on the side of T1. Even if you get a Chains of Corruption, which hasn't really been very easy here for Duckdom so far this game, besides the first one he had under turret. He's missed a lot of them, but a lot of that's the range problem and how quickly you could just be blown up. If you're in range to hit a Chains of Corruption, you're also therefore vulnerable. He didn't take Cleanse. He has no Mikhails for Barrel. So he will get one eventually, but I don't know if the game is going to go that long.
Well, now, Rascal going to be fighting Oner. There's the grand challenge. Decent snare, and that is going to net them the kill. And Croco was thinking about a flank, but before he could do anything, his top laner was dead. And so that is done. Elixir of Iron now running on Oner. Look at how much health this guy has. He's not afraid of anyone. Nope. Gumayusi going to walk up this bottom lane. It's a lot of, you know, dot and I's, cross and T's. This was in the textbook, kill all the structures and then kill the Nexus, and that's how you win a game of League of Legends.
And that old exactly tutorial.
Oh yeah. Did you put down your top lane vote there, Wolf?
I did.
Very nicely done.
There were some other considerations. I looked at Keria a little bit closer, but I was like, nah, Oner, great game, but it's a Zeus vote.
Oh yes, it definitely is. As these turrets are going to fall down, let's see whether T1 will have a bit of fun with this. As Fate gets into the backline, final spark. Does a fair bit of work, but nope. Zeus says, we are finishing this.